Hey, it's Tori, and before we get to today's episode, I wanted to let you know that you are about to listen to a Patreon exclusive. What does that mean? I have a Patreon community, which is a paid membership where you get access to an additional episode every week, as well as a Discord community, etc. So I'm going to walk you through what all of that means before you listen to the episode, just in case you really like what you hear and want to join me on Patreon. So in the Ready to Be Pettier tier for $5 a month, you get a patron shout out from me on the main feed. You get all of the Patreon only episodes, including this one. They come out every Thursday. So you'll get your Sunday episode on the main feed, your Thursday Patreon episode, and you get access to the RTBP Discord community. We chat about celebrity gossip. We share This Week in Petties. We nominate Pettyweight Champions of the Week, and we just overall hang out. It's a super fun community, and it lets you, discuss the episodes with other RTBP listeners and chat with me. What you can expect from the extra episodes are spicier takes, continuation of topics from the public episodes, deep dives, etc. And I've been able to be a little bit more creative with the Patreon episodes because, we don't have the kind of schedule, the outline like we do on the Sunday main feed episodes. So you can kind of envision these are like my bonus episodes, but they will be more regular every Thursday. On the Ready to Be Pricey tier, which is $10 a month, you get all of the same benefits as the Ready to Be Pettier tier, but you also get a personalized card from me in the mail, little love note, and then you get a This Month in Petty, which is like a happy hour style video call on Discord with me, either solo or with previous guests that I've had on the podcast. If you're interested in joining Patreon, you can check it out at patreon.com/RTBP podcast.
A playlist original.
What's up? It's your host Tori, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode. I'm so glad you're here, patrons. I feel like we need like a fun little title for the RTDP patron community. I'm sure, we'll think of something or something will come up eventually, but I'm so excited that you're here. Tell me how things are going. This is our third episode, so I just want to make sure that I'm making everybody happy. I'm a people pleaser, and that you feel like you're getting what you paid for and are happy with it. So let me know. I batched out the first 3 episodes, but episode 4 and beyond are going to be recorded like the week of or within 2 weeks. So I wanted to let you know that. And like I asked in the last Patreon episode, what do you want to hear in these intros and outros? I am super down to, add in different things that you suggest. So let me know. I am so excited for this episode because I am joined with one of my best friends from high school. So someone that I've known for, over half my life. And she's so important to me. She's a singer-songwriter. She goes by Kenzie. And we are talking about celeb feuds where one party wrote a song about another one and then there was like a rebuttal. So we started out recording this and we started with the Taylor Swift feuds, which you're going to hear today. And it was like an hour and a half recording. So I was like, hey girl, we got to pause. Let's do our special announcement. And then you can come on another Patreon episode and we'll do all of the other people like Britney and Justin, Ed Sheeran and Ellie Goulding, like those people another time. So Kenzie will be back. But today we're going to focus on our favesies, Taylor Swift. If you have any suggestions about singers who have these call and response songs, let us know. We are going to do Ed Sheeran and Ellie Goulding. We're going to do Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Nick Jonas, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, and Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, and Joshua Bassett. But if you have any other suggestions, just like let us know. I know that there's some that we didn't cover because we didn't super know about them, like Mariah Carey and Eminem, but just hit us up and we'll see if we can include it. Anyways, I think it's time to get to the show. Here is my conversation with Kenzie Cates. I'm back with a very special guest, Kenzie Cates, singer-songwriter, a friend of mine for like over a decade. Kenzie, how are you?
Hi, Tor. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to record this. I feel like it's been such a long time coming.
I feel like it's like been gestating for a good 9 months now. She's ready to come out.
Literally. And I'm like, okay, we're like locking this down.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Let's tell the listeners, we can get into like what you do professionally, but let's tell the listeners how we met. I don't even think I can't even remember like the origin.
I remember like hearing about you for a long time from our high school friends when we were in like I wonder what grade were you in? Do you remember?
I think I was in 10 and you were in 9.
Okay, so I remember, I guess, then being in grade 9 and like hearing your name and like it was this girl from Sahali. I was like, who is this mystery woman? And I remember like because of just like everything about high school and my own undiagnosed depression, I just like remember being mentally prepared to not like you because I just was like, that's legally how it works when you meet a new girl in high school. And then I remember meeting you and like instantly being like, oh no, unfortunately I will not be able to dislike her. I have to. she's irresistible.
Oh my God. So like, did we meet at a party or did we meet? I think I was just like brought to your house. I feel like maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a funny way of putting it. I actually have no idea. I feel like it was around the time of like some coach house parties.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had this like, honestly, I saw some pictures the other day and I was like, man, those actually slapped. Like, they were very fun.
Whenever I went to your house with the coach house, I felt like I was like not in Gossip Girl, but like did you ever read the Gossip Girl books that were the spin-off that were like in the countryside?
Yeah, like the Carlyles or something.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I felt like.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, baby. I felt like baby Carlisle or whatever. Like
oh my God. Yeah.
You've been brought up twice on this podcast. The first was when we did an Instagram live, like literally March 20th, like 2020.
Like day 4 of the pandemic.
Yeah, when I was like, I'm going to do a live like every day to keep the listeners like listening.
And it worked. Your dad was extremely
yeah. And then it was my parents listening and I was like, maybe this isn't a good idea. They got a kick out of it, but
yeah.
No one else did apparently. But we did an Instagram live when Kanye West released, or no, somebody released the Taylor Swift unedited full-length phone calls about Famous.
Right. It wasn't Kim?
Well, I don't know who leaked it. I still don't think we know.
Oh, okay.
Which could have been like maybe the origin of this podcast, which we'll get into. But the other time is Lindsay, our mutual friend, was on a few weeks ago and we were talking about our first jobs. And we talked about the keg. Maybe I'll bleep that out. But like how you two would just like eat the dessert instead of like working.
We were disgusting and everyone fucking hated us. We were so bad. Actually, you know what? I think Lindsay, I don't know. I think I can point to some very specific behaviors that made her far less hateable than me. Like I would literally be in the salad bar and I would like take my bare finger and just raw dog it and like wipe it across the cheesecake container that had like cheesecake wiped off on the sides and put it in my mouth. And the servers would be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like they hated me so much. And actually some friends from Kamloops are now
Yeah.
dating like a person who was my manager at the keg. And when she told me, I was like, no, like he hates me so much. Please. And then I was at spin the other day because she was teaching a spin class. And like he was there with his friend who was the other manager from the keg, who was like the one person who was nice to me. Like I'm sure he hated me too, but I think for some reason he took pity on me because I was so pathetic. He was like literally every. Do you know what they told me one time?
What? I'm
There was
scared
like
to know.
a logbook,
Oh,
and they said that it was just like dedicated to me. It's just like servers being like, Kenzie fucked everything up again tonight. Well, day 4 of Kenzie fucking just like eating dessert with her fingers and then like,
and then leaving. like,
yeah. Oh
Oh
man.
God, it's so funny. But like honestly, you two were hated, but like weren't the other people taking their jobs way too seriously?
I feel like I don't remember honestly. I feel like everyone was just like older and like did in fact require the income to survive.
Yeah, I'm like, were they too serious or were they following food safe guidelines? Like, hard to
Is
say.
one better than the other? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, are they narcs either way? Yes. But I guess there were some people our age and they did not take it seriously, but they were men, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, truly. They don't have the pressures of women in the workforce.
No, they don't know. I was making 70 cents every one of their salad bar dollars.
Oh my God.
They don't know anything about work or suffering. It was honestly, I'm gonna claim misogyny every time this comes up in the future. I'll be like, yeah, they just hated me at the keg because I was a woman and I didn't conform to traditional
and it was a steakhouse. Like it was a patriarchal place.
It was like it was like the perfect manifestation of the patriarchy, and they just hated me because I refused to fit in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was one of those places where you were like required to wear heels.
Yeah, and everyone did just like slut it up a little bit, which I love,
Yeah,
but I'm also like, I wish you didn't have that choice forced upon. It's like a bit coerced. Like you don't have to do it, but also like the alternative to not doing it is like you make less money.
Totally. The highs and lows
Fuck.
of working in the restaurant industry. But thank goodness you're not still working at the keg.
For now.
You are also a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a pop songwriter too.
I love it. I love it. And I love your music. So I was at home this weekend with my parents and I was picking up sushi as we were talking about before we started recording. And they were sitting in the car and I just put Spotify on to all your songs. And I was like, while I get the sushi, listen to Kenzie's songs. Like,
don't go anywhere. Headphones out, phones down. Thank you.
But yeah, they were like obsessed with Black Magic.
Okay, Gen X fucking loves Black Magic. And I think it's because the producer that made it I guess I've worked with other producers who are Gen X, but I think he has sensibilities that are very much of that time. And like honestly, my mom's friends are like my biggest fans on Spotify. I like every time I post on Facebook, it's like my mom's friends who are like in their 50s and 60s that are like, go Kenzie, shoot for the stars. They're like so supportive.
Literally nothing hypes you up like the comment section of your mom's post about you for your birthday.
Yeah. My mom doesn't have Facebook, but her friends do. So we don't need her as an intermediary. They go straight to the source.
I love that.
And they're very sweet.
That. So tell the listeners a little bit like about your music and what you've got going on.
Well, I almost said recently. I've been saying I recently got a grant for the last like year and a half now. Canada has actually like a great public fund for music recording. It's like millions of dollars that they give out to Canadian musicians each year. And so I didn't get a million of their dollars. I just got some.
We wouldn't be recording this podcast if
I would have
$1,000,000.
no time.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But actually, don't lose my number when you become famous. Hopefully, I'll be equally as famous, but in the podcast sphere.
Yeah, in the podcast world, and we can cross-pollinate.
Yeah.
I can have one of those like artistic albums that has like voice tracks woven in between, and there'll be like a filtered view.
From our combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Daylight by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a grant. So you have been like back and forth between where you live now in Vancouver and Nashville and LA writing music.
Yeah, which is like technically illegal. Not illegal, but it's like you're supposed to like spend it on like Canadian people. But I'm like, I just like pop music, and I think Toronto has a decent pop music scene, and there's some happening in Vancouver, but like most pop is happening in LA, obviously. And then Nashville actually surprisingly has like a burgeoning pop scene now as well. And that's where the producer who did like one of my singles, Just Ain't You.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so good.
An upcoming single who he did, and then two other ones that I did most recently when I was with him. So he's there. And so yeah, I've been back and forth, and I've been just mostly writing, and I'm starting to kind of see a theme to like make an album maybe.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Can we talk about how when I met your boyfriend last November, I was like, are you the muse for Jealous?
Wait,
he's like, no.
In Mexico?
Yeah. I was like, just wait, I'm putting two and two together. Like, are you the muse?
Are you the boy who had a girlfriend who
He's
like, what the fuck?
He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay.
No, do you know what? I actually have like an insultingly low number of songs about. I just feel like our relationship is good all the time, and so I only write songs when I'm like mad or petty, so I have nothing to say about him. Things are just like good.
Okay, are any of your songs about that boy who will remain nameless who were Uggs? No, not Uggs, Lugs.
Yes, either way is about him.
Okay, I demand Either Way gets released on Spotify. Holy shit.
Do you want me to send you the file? I have a newly recorded version. Same producer who did Black Magic. His name is Winston Hauschild.
Oh my God, okay, just wait. The context is that Either Way is a song that Kenzie wrote in high school that I would blast on my purple iPod Nano like every day a million times. But like I don't have that iPod or any of my iTunes music.
Yeah, so it's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a secret. It was like an indie release. I put it on like CBC Radio 4, which is like where artists can like upload their songs. And I probably just like sent you the MP3. And to this date, my greatest musical achievement, 97.5 The River played it multiple times. That was just, at the time, premier pop music station.
Fuck, that's so funny.
I literally just emailed them and I was like, hi, I'm 15. Will you play my song? And they were like, honestly, sure. No one this anyway. Fuck it.
Oh my God, that's so fucking funny.
Oh man.
Okay, so today, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about, well, I kind of gave away the plot, but we're going to be talking about feuds, like the Taylor and Kanye feud, and we're going to dissect some of the music that people released about the other person. And then the end of the episode, we have like a special kind of announcement from you. So this is going to be so much fun. So stay tuned for that. But I feel like we should just get into it. So we're going to cover, let's see who we're covering. We're going to cover Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, Taylor Swift and John Mayer, Taylor Swift and Kanye West. It's going to be a whirlwind of an episode.
It's going to be, man, Taylor Swift has just given the world so much. she's such a strong contributor of fodder for content.
My favorite memes are her being like, or like about her recently about her celebrity like jets
Oh, yeah, how she's just a
controversy.
climate criminal.
Yeah, she's a climate criminal, but it's like, but the other climate criminals didn't give us folklore, and I was like, that's
Honestly,
fair.
really
Like,
good point. I'm
yes.
also outraged by these continual double standards that Taylor Swift is held to. Like,
Yes,
what were
yes.
Kanye West's fucking carbon, whatever, footprint for? Why don't I know that word? For like, I just feel like people love to hate Taylor Swift and they love to love Taylor Swift. Like, she's fine, you know, but
Yeah,
she's just such an easy target. She's so
totally,
tall
totally.
and thin, Aryan looking.
Okay, let's get into her first feud, the most fun feud she's ever had. Katy Perry and Taylor Swift. So they were friends. They had like some Twitter exchanges, and you know, they were just pop girlies in the 2010s. And then in December 2013, in Katy's documentary Pieces of Me, did you watch that?
Yeah, of course. I literally own it, have it downloaded on my iTunes.
Yeah, like it is a piece of
It's
art.
canon. It's
It's
canon.
canon that you have to consume. So people noticed that a lot of Katy's backup dancers were similar to Taylor's backup dancers, and then it came out that a lot of Katy's backup dancers left the Red Tour to join Katy's Prism Tour. And then there was kind of rumors floating around that she had poached them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sparked by Taylor in Rolling Stone later that year, or a few months later, saying that there was a female artist trying to sabotage her career.
Which is an extremely dramatic way of phrasing
But
that.
that's Taylor. Like, that is so Taylor. And like, I forgot that in the early days of her career, she would just like say this stuff in interviews.
Okay, do you know what? I feel like this is something I'm curious. I feel like we don't have the same perspective on this, and I'm curious to hear what yours is or to clarify what yours is. I genuinely think that because Taylor Swift was like bullied so much in like middle school and like up until she became famous, that she genuinely believes these things.
That she's the victim.
I really think that she, like, anything that happens, she perceives as like, I mean, maybe not anymore, but like particularly around this time, because it's just such a wild distortion, but she just was so stubborn about it. And I guess there's just a part of me that's like I'm like, it's so embarrassing for her that I'm like,
Yeah.
you just must actually think this. Otherwise you wouldn't like humiliate yourself this way.
No, I completely agree with you. Like, I think that, yeah, she has this, like, I hate when people say she, like, victim complex. I feel like I'm on, like, Jersey Shore. Like, I feel like I'm Ron from Jersey Shore being, like, stop being a victim or, like, having a victim complex or something. But, like, I definitely agree that, like, it's tough when she kind of victimizes herself when she's like at the top of her career. And I feel like, again, a lot of that is to do with like misogyny, etc. Like, I think a lot of her criticisms are valid, but maybe the way that she goes about them, like, people feel not sorry for her, I guess. I don't know.
A fucking course not. Like, it's
Yeah.
so unreasonable. I mean, it's not, it's like, it's just clearly not rational. Like, it's not based on like absolute power dynamic stuff. It's based on her like
Yes.
perceived relative position to other people, like in her same sphere. And I feel like even though she's like at the top of the world, she still irrationally feels like this like underdog, or at least again did at this time.
100%. So the day the article comes out, Katy tweets, "Watch out for a Regina George in sheep's clothing," which is just iconic. Like, it's,
Yeah.
I just can't, like, you can't make this up. Like, it's just, it's poetic.
I remember, I feel like you might need to like delete this from the pod. I like remember that tweet the way that I like remember, I don't know why, that like the way that I remember like the day that 9/11 happened. Like, I remember.
I'm not
I
deleting
remember-
that the same.
I remember,
Like,
like I was at the Y at work. And it was like an old Dell monitor. And me and my friend Declan were like twitter.com while we were like scanning people into the Y.
To the gym.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I'm dead. No, I feel the same way. Like it's like, where were you when Katy Perry tweeted this out? Because it's burned into your retina.
Yeah. She also used some emojis. Like I feel like I can literally still remember like what her profile pic was at the time. Anyway.
Literally. And I had just graduated university and I was like kind of had a part-time job but also didn't. So I was like depressed, like lying on my like futon on Twitter all the time. And
So
I was like,
relatable. Yeah.
I was like, I know, Katy, like I like you do need to watch out for Regina George's in sheep's clothing. Later that year, she performs at the Super Bowl. There's like the viral left shark dancer that was like supposed to be a diss to Taylor Swift.
How was it a diss?
I think it's because it was like Taylor can't dance and then she stole the backup dancers and people were saying that like the shark was supposed to be Taylor.
Oh.
Because the shark was dancing but was like offbeat and doing like really simple dance.
And that is like a very fair and funny critique. Taylor is just so bullyable, but I feel like I never picked up on that. Like I remember being so intrigued by this left shark drama, but this is like brand new information to me, but this makes so much sense.
Yes. Yeah, it was like all over Twitter. Again, I feel like I'm going to be referencing Twitter this entire episode because
played a
it played a role in all of these feuds.
Might say it was almost a central character in all of these plots.
It's a primary resource like, or source or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Then Taylor Swift releases Bad Blood. And it's definitely referencing Taylor Swift. We're going to look at some of the lyrics in a sec. June 2016, Katy Perry releases a perfume called Mad Love, maybe directly referencing the Bad Blood lyrics.
Because, yeah, that is a lyric.
Yeah.
It used to be Mad Love, she's saying.
Yes. So this
that
was
seems like it can't be a coincidence.
It can't be. Okay, so maybe let's look at Bad Blood. Because then we're going to get into
okay.
Swish Swish.
Our favorite. Tori and I have discussed these two songs at length already. Both very passionate.
Yes.
Okay, can I just say, like, as a devout Taylor Swift fan, like, this was like the one song on that album that I hated.
Yes.
And I don't know why. It was just I just don't think it's catchy.
Same. I think that when Taylor tries to shoehorn, like she's obviously trying to shoehorn the message of this song into like something sellable, and I just don't think it works.
I also feel like she often just tries to shoehorn like herself into genres, like for example with the Reputation entire album where she was just trying to literally do hip hop and we were like stop. Please, we're all begging you.
There's definitely genres that work better, like that she moves into more easily
and this felt like a shoehorn. It felt contrived.
Yeah, same with Look What We Made Me.
Oh God,
Look What You Made Me Do.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other sitch. Honestly, like, I just feel like these lyrics
are stupid.
And it's more like a warning, like I don't feel like Katy thought that the rift was this bad until Taylor made it this bad with this song.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was like it just definitely adding gasoline to the fire. And also Taylor Swift fans are so intense. Like, I feel like it was like similar to the like Avril Lavigne, Hilary Duff thing where like when they hate, like I was like I liked Hilary Duff, but I was like I actually legally am required to hate her because my hero Avril Lavigne says that I have to because she hates her. And I feel like Taylor Swift still has that power over everybody. So like Katy Perry was probably like chilling, vibing, and then this song came out and suddenly all these people were like roasting her online and like whatever. So I could see why it would make it feel worse for Katy.
Totally. And then she does another Rolling Stone interview because, again, the sign of the times, people were like really into Rolling Stone because it was the mecca
Right.
of music content. But she talked about Katy saying that, you know, she would come up to her at events. Taylor would leave the interaction being like, are we
Right.
friends, or
Do
are
you
you
hate
giving
me?
yeah, like, are you giving me backhanded compliments?
Or was
And
that like the
then
worst insult of my life or something? I feel like was her, yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
her direct quote. And
Mm-hmm.
then she said that Katy did something so horrible and that Taylor realized they were just straight up enemies.
I feel like we should read some choice lyrics from Bad Blood, or
Yes,
do you think everyone just
yes.
knows them?
I feel like everyone just knows them, but like, is there like ones that specifically stand out to you as
I
being like
mean,
scathing?
the line that I can never get over is Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the bridge, it just felt like I'm like a bullet hole. Like she hired, like worst case scenario, she poached some dancers. Like I think there's more dancers in the world. I think there's like, in fact, like, yeah, like I don't think there's a shortage of other dancers for you to hire. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the ones that stick out to me are like salt in the wound, like you're laughing right at me because again, victim complex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
like never used that like saying, and now I like can't stop.
I know. And that also just like also the lyrics of the song are just so bad. Like, still got scars on my back from your knife. So don't think it's in the past. These kinds of wounds, they last and they last. Like this, I feel like she just gave up.
Yeah, she's definitely done better than this song for
Yeah.
sure. So a month later, I think is the most damning thing. So Calvin Harris, this was when Taylor was broken up with him, starting to date Tom Hiddleston. And okay, I remember this
Oh,
vividly because I was
yeah.
in Cuba, and
Mm,
I don't know what it's like right now, but Cuba in 2016 didn't have open access Wi-Fi. They only had Wi-Fi in the public squares, and you had to purchase a telecoms card from either a store during the daytime, or if you ran out, like it had minutes on it, you would have, like, I would literally buy them like a drug dealer off the side of the street, and then you would like log on with the card and you would get like 50 minutes of Wi-Fi.
right. Okay.
And so I was there, and this was happening, and I was like literally dying because I needed to know. But basically, everyone found out that Kelvin Harris and Rihanna's song, This Is What You Came For, the Swedish contributor to that song was actually Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she had used like a pen name.
Yes.
Hmm.
And so everyone was, I don't know, like up in arms about that.
Was it that she had written it, or was it that like they broke up and Tom, or not Tom, Calvin was like saying all this stuff about, like I remember him like tweeting or like posting to Instagram about it.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you're right. I think he goes off and then it comes out. I think she or like someone from her camp says, like, okay, well, your biggest hit was because of me. So don't go off on me on Twitter. I think that that's how it went down.
Right. Then they broke up, and then she started dating Tom Hiddleston, and then she broke up with Tom Hiddleston. Is that his name? Is that how you say it? And
Yes.
then everybody was like, "Oh, she's gone too far this time." Like
Yeah. Like,
it was, I don't know why that was the line, but I remember for some reason being like I could sense that her fall from grace was imminent. Like,
yes, because everyone was like, hey, this is like clearly a PR stunt. Like, you're not actually dating Tom Hiddleston. So this is when she was starting to get like a little bit overexposed and a little too fake, I think.
right. And she
And
was
people
also
start turning
doing
on her.
her girl gang. Like I feel like she was truly at like her
Yes.
height. Like she was untouchable. She had like her celebrity model friends with her everywhere she went. She seemed to be friends with like every other celebrity, every other
Yes.
songwriter. Like she was just like so powerful. And then it just was like it had to all come crashing down.
100%. So Kelvin Harris is like calling her fake. And then Katy Perry is like, told you so. And
Tweets like a sheep emoji or something.
yes. And then she does like the most Justin Bobby thing ever. She says, time is the ultimate truth teller, which is just so ridiculous. So May 2017 rolls around. Katy releases the song Swish Swish.
Which was a devastating day for pop music, honestly.
Seriously, again, like talk about shoehorning a message into like a bad song that shouldn't be released.
It was like, and what's shocking about it is like, she was working with like music's finest. Like she was making that song with like Max Martin and like I think Shellback, who have brought us basically every radio hit since the time of Britney Spears to now. Like they never miss. But ironically, they missed with Swish Swish and did not, in fact, get another one in the basket with this song.
Okay, and then like literally this was like definitely entering Katy's flop era too. And she like cut off her black, gorgeous hair and she had like that blonde,
and
I don't know.
And with it, her magical power, like Entangled, was destroyed. Yes. And she has not had a hit since.
I know.
Except I guess that one she did with Zed did okay.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like, did you know she released an entire album called Daisy or Daisies or something?
Yeah, after her kid, with Orlando Bloom, Daisy. Yeah, I think that the one that got away didn't get enough credit. I think that's actually a good song, but like
I thought that one was great.
Yeah, but everything else was trash.
The one that got away. Was that from Daisy?
No, I think it was Prism.
Oh, Prism had a couple hits. Anyway.
Okay,
she's been on a downhill trajectory ever since. R.I.P.
Okay, let me read you the chorus. Like okay, it's swish, swish, bish. Another one in the basket. Can't touch this. Another one in the casket.
That's a stretch. I mean, it's like a perfect rhyme, but like conceptually, it's not. They could have done better.
You're about cute as an old coupon expired, and karma's not a liar. She keeps receipts.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually have like, I don't know if this is interesting to anybody except me, but I have like some perhaps very like profession specific
insight
into this.
That's why you're here.
Max Martin and Shellback are both ESL, like they're both Swedish speakers, and if you go back and you listen to like everyone from Britney Spears to like Justin Timberlake, Avril Lavigne, Adele, like there's no person that has like a global superstardom career in music that has not worked with Max Martin and whose hits have not made them like who they are basically to some extent, including Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, who have both worked with him extensively.
Yes.
Perhaps more so Katy Perry than Taylor Swift. But you can hear in like so many of Max Martin's songs these like weird phrasings and like these weird, like it's like they don't quite make sense. And it's because Max Martin's songwriting philosophy is that like songs don't have to make sense. It's about like the words and how they make you feel and how they sound. And so he has all of like let me think of an example. There's some like Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Yeah.
Like all of the lyrics in that song.
Yeah, what does that even mean? Like hit me
Nothing.
up?
Nothing.
Like,
no,
I don't
it doesn't
know.
It doesn't mean anything. Like it's literal nonsense. And then like there's a song he did with Ariana Grande where he made her sing these lyrics and she was like really upset about it. Break Free, maybe?
Okay. Yes.
I think there's a lyric in that song that's like, I only want to die alive.
Yeah.
And she hated that. It's like the lyrics are, I only want to die alive, never by the hands of a broken heart. I don't want to hear you lie tonight now that I've become who I really are. Max Martin made her sing Now That I've Become Who I Really Are because he just like does not care about like grammar, syntax, like anything making sense. He just wants it to sound good. And so she, like, if you listen to it, you can hear she kind of garbles it.
Yeah.
To try to make it sound like am and are, and like people can interpret it how they want. Anyway, so this is like Max's signature move. And I feel I almost wonder if like in like this song is so incoherent that I'm like, I wonder how much involvement Max had with the lyrics. Like why is she calling Taylor Swift an old coupon?
Yeah,
like what? It's like expired, like
like an expired coupon. Yeah, I've listened to "Break Free" by Ariana Grande and Zed like a million times. I had no idea that those were the lyrics.
Yeah, it's
I straight up had no idea.
It's truly like it's almost astonishing how incoherent it is, and yet the song absolutely slaps. Like Max's magic transcends transcends the English
Truly.
language, and he doesn't actually need to be able to have a, I mean, he probably does have a pretty perfect command of the English language. He just chooses not to like use it when he's writing because he doesn't think it's important.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And that's evident in Swish Swish.
yeah, because it makes zero sense.
It makes zero sense. Again, shocked at how far things have moved forward because in Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, Katy says Taylor Swift started their feud and she was here to finish it with Swish Swish, which I think she thinks, again, is like a big dunk, but it's not. But again, it's just so shocking that celebs would say this in interviews. Nowadays, they don't say anything in interviews.
Yeah, they were, I feel like they were very loose-lipped.
Yeah, and now they like I don't know, I feel like the drama we get is all sourced from like internet detectives. It's never just like straight up said by the celeb. But over time, Katy was like, "Yeah, I'm over this feud. We like wrapped it up, etc." And then in June 2019, the "You Need to Calm Down" music video
Mm-hmm.
happened, and Katy in her burger costume, Taylor in her fry costume,
They join hands.
they join hands and they hug.
Yeah.
Allegedly, this is like tea. They were supposed to kiss.
Whoa.
Yes, but they either kissed and then they cut it in the final product, or
Oh.
they like never ended up doing it. But I
Huh.
think people on the set, etc., were kind of alleging that.
Interesting. Which is, why do they need to be so extreme? Like, it doesn't need to go from being like, you stabbed me in the back, there are bullet holes where you hurt me, to like making out on set. Like, there's a space in between, folks.
100%. And like maybe that was supposed to be Taylor's coming out. We don't have to go down the whole like Gaylor rabbit hole, but like I don't know. That's just again like tea for another time. Okay, let's move on to Taylor Swift and John Mayer.
Because Taylor is nothing if not a prolific and very petty songwriter.
100%. So Taylor and John meet on her tour, Fearless. They both sing Your Body is a Wonderland and White Horse. They collab on the song Half of My Heart.
Which I just have to say is so funny because like John Mayer collaborating with anybody is like you are permitted to sing background lyrics that will be mixed in such a way that you're barely audible. Like
Literally like that. And it's no offense, but like not a good song.
no, you know what? Actually, I have to say at the time I really loved it.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
John
same.
Mayer stan, but
Me too. He's a problematic fave of
he
mine.
is, and I hate to admit it.
Yes.
That I like ever loved him as much as I did, but I can't deny who I
Yes.
was. But it like you can barely hear her. It's like just kind of like I feel like it was a bit exploitative of him to even like I feel like he benefited from having her as a featured artist more than she did because it's like he gets to reach like different audiences who are like, "Oh, Taylor Swift, my favorite singer," is like
100%
on some old guy's
collabing with
track.
this. Yeah, because at the time she's 19, he's 32. So
He's like
yeah,
losing
he's
relevance and fast.
super fast
Yeah.
and she has, yeah, you're right, access to young girls basically.
Hmm.
So they allegedly date from December 2009 to February 2010, which is so funny because for a feud that's lasted like 20 years or whatever, that's like 3 months.
Yeah, it's really short. I feel like I've thought about that before too, but honestly, if anything she alleges in her 6 minute long ballad, Dear John, is accurate, it sounds like it was an absolute nightmare to date him. Like,
Yes.
and like it was sounds like it was a really harmful dynamic for her. And so I'm like, maybe that just really messed with her head and it just like,
Yeah, that's true because the other person she dates that's like seemingly treats her poorly is Jake Gyllenhaal, and
mm-hmm.
that becomes the banger all too well. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
She loves an unconventionally long song
yeah, like
to
truly.
process her like bad relationships.
So, in 2010, she releases the song. John
Dear John.
in Rolling Stone once again says he was humiliated. It was cheap songwriting.
He's not wrong. But also it sounds like he was a real dick. Like I'm really split here because on the one hand, I'm like, you didn't need to literally call it Dear John. So that but on the other
Yeah.
hand, like there was clearly a power dynamic between him. He was rich
Yeah.
and powerful and significantly older than her. She was literally a teenager. Like it just sounds like there was I don't want to say it was predatory because I wasn't there and I don't know, but I feel like that age chasm and like the power differential between them in another context could easily be like a predatory dynamic. And so I feel a little bit conflicted about like whose side I'm on.
Yeah, like I think I'm on Taylor's because you're right. Like, and the song depicts a girl who's young and
Don't you think
like
19's too young?
yes,
Yeah.
to be messed with. The girl in the dress cried the whole way home.
Okay, counterpoint, which I normally would never do in
Yeah.
any conversation regarding any kind of dynamic, but because it's a celebrity and all we have, it's not testimony, it's songwriting. And so it is a little bit more interpretive and it is about how she feels, not necessarily her lived experience. Like, given the fact that she has a bit of a victim complex, I'm like, I don't know. I guess part of me is like, I could see her like interpreting things that were harmful and like shitty, but interpreting them in a way that was like perhaps a like less favorable towards him than was actually like
The case.
warranted. Or I don't know. I don't know if I actually believe that. I just feel like I don't know.
It's worth mentioning. No,
Maybe
I
it's not worth mentioning. I don't know. Maybe we should
no.
just believe women.
Yeah, that too. No. I totally get that. And like also, you're right. When you write songs, well, actually, I don't know, but maybe you can speak to this. But yeah, like when you write songs, I feel like not that you're over exaggerating, but like it's like when you write like a poem or you're like telling a story to a friend, like you not again that you're embellishing per se, but like when it's art, it's supposed to be like I feel like all or nothing, and this is clearly like the all.
Yeah, and you're not aiming for like fairness or objectivity, you're aiming for
Yeah,
expression. And so like if it felt like he was torturous and like horrible, whether he was actually and how do you measure that? Like, I don't know.
yeah,
But I just
yeah.
feel like it's like a bit harder to say. If anybody ever alleged John Mayer abused them, I would have a very different position and I would just believe them because the statistical odds of somebody making up stuff like that are very low. But I feel like it's a bit of more of a shade like that isn't what she's saying in this song in my interpretation.
Well, so she does talk about in the lyrics like I should have known, and I think
Mm.
that kind of does allude to his reputation, maybe not publicly, but within the Hollywood sphere, was that he is a playboy.
Yeah, and that's true. I feel like, and there is, I guess there's a like a difference between being a playboy and being abusive. And I guess
Yeah,
I feel like that's
yeah,
what I'm trying to like mentally work through right now. Like I'm like the
yeah,
way
yeah,
that she
yeah.
describes him, I'm like there are elements of that dynamic that sound a little like red flaggy, but somebody can be a dick without being like straight up abusive, you know? So I feel
Yeah,
like
100%.
I would think if Taylor, if you hear this and you ever come forward about your experiences with John and accuse him of abuse, I will believe you.
Yes, yes. That comes out. Everyone's like shook to their core. A year later, he releases his comeback song, Paper Doll.
Pathetic, honestly.
It's
Did you
about
hear
a
it?
girl, like, even just the song title is fucking scathing. But it's like, so it's about a girl who is young and naive and, yeah, reads into too much. And
Depicts her as like also frivolous and like he says like you're like 22 girls in one and none of them know what they're running from. This very like flighty, like silly kind of.
yes, and like, hey, 22, possibly a reference to her song 22.
Hmm.
He mentions a girl in a blue and gold dress. I think like she wore a dress to one of their performances together or something like
Mm.
that was blue and gold. He mentions a red scarf in the song, but yeah, it's overall doesn't play well. Even
And it's
just this,
just a bad song.
yes, and like, hey, it's like if you think that the girl you're dating is too immature, maybe it's because she's like
A
12 or
child.
13, yeah, years younger than you. Like, it's just so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
In 2016, last but not least, he says Tuesday, December 13th may be the lamest day of the year conceptually, and that's Taylor Swift's birthday.
That's pretty funny.
It's so funny. And then people were like, wow, how dare you? And he's like, I'm 39. If you like, I'm not playing these like stupid games. And everyone's like, no, but you are.
There's just like a 1 in 365 chance of him randomly shitting on that day.
Like, it's
the
so
odds are against
fucking
you,
funny.
John. You 39-year-old petty man.
You petty fucking bitch. I think I said that the most iconic feud was Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, but it's definitely Taylor Swift and Kanye West.
I feel like they're just all so like connected because Taylor has left us such a strong trail of songs between all of them, many of them even from the same album.
Yeah, and also I feel like we could do a whole separate episode just on the Taylor and Kanye songs.
Oh, would love
but
to.
I just included the two ones that are like the inciting
Yeah.
incidents
Yeah.
because you're right, Reputation has so many references to Kanye West.
Yeah.
So everyone knows in 2009, Kanye cut off Taylor's Video of the Year speech at the VMAs. Taylor said Kanye called and apologized and she accepted it. This is like pretty early in her career, but a year later, she releases the song Innocent. Let's look at those lyrics.
I have them all memorized. Name a verse.
Okay, so when I think of like losing innocence, I think of like virginity or like losing your like childlike wonder. And I was like, again, I feel like this is an over exaggeration. Like, yes, that was maybe humiliating or disheartening or whatever, but like, why innocent?
I feel like sometimes she just like I think she, without really thinking very hard about what she's saying or doing, she like gravitates towards like words or terms that she thinks sound like a little bit like literary.
Right.
I sort of think that like she was like, you're still uninnocent, to her sounded like, I don't know, I think it sounded just like interesting and like a cool and sophisticated concept to her.
Yeah.
Maybe from like the perspective of, yeah, I don't know.
This was never a song from Speak Now that I like gravitated towards.
I mean, honestly, I have to say I loved every single track on Speak Now. There might be one or two, but I can't think of. And so this definitely wasn't one of my favorites, but I have every lyric memorized. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're excited for the Speak Now re-records?
Oh, I don't know. I was fine with
hot take.
I feel like, I mean, I really respect what she's doing and I love that, but I also haven't really listened to many of the re-records because I just feel like it's like nice to revisit it and like throw her a couple of spins, but I'm also just like feel like I've emotionally moved on.
Yeah.
And like it's like
fair.
yeah,
I
like
haven't. So like that's happy for you, but like,
not me.
Not me.
Oh.
Oh my God. So one of the lyrics that she references is 32 and still growing up now. Who you are is not what you did. You're still an innocent. So that's referencing how Kanye was 32 at the time. And then she talks about, you'll have new Septembers. The VMAs are in September. We just had one a few weeks ago.
Do you know, I feel like she was like, I don't know if it was, I feel like it was like a bit of an inadvertent diss track because I feel like her lyrics are very much like, it's all right, just wait and see. Your string of lights is still bright to me. Like she's being like, you're still, it sounds like she's like forgiving him and being like, I have compassion for you. I like who you are isn't what you did. You're like, you still are redeemable. And I like see you as a human. She also says the thing about like time turns. I didn't know how many of these I still had memorized, but they're just pouring through me like I'm a vessel. But like time turns flames to embers. Like it's like it'll die down. Not everyone's going to be like giving you flack for this forever. Like it's like on its face, I feel like sweet, but then it's also just condescending for this like 19-year-old to be like, I deem you innocent and
to a 32-year-old.
Yeah, and I also am just always aware of like the racial dynamic between them in all of their conflicts, especially given that she's like literally like a hero to some like freaky Aryan supremacy, like white supremacy, but who
Yeah.
specific, like they specifically use the word Aryan when they describe her, which is why I used it like jokingly earlier.
Yes.
And so I'm also just kind of like, I'm like, oh, it almost feels like a little bit of like white save. Like, I'm like, is there some white saviorism happening here? Like, is she like, I'll
100%.
single-handedly like rescue your reputation and whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree because I feel like she was talking about being a young woman and like I there's obviously gender dynamics to this too,
Mm.
but I think she just misses the entire boat on, the backlash Kanye received for this.
Yeah. And like, however, yeah, this really requires an intersectional
Yeah,
analysis.
I guess 100%
But
cuz
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
because yeah, it's like there's obviously there's gender dynamics and people hold Taylor Swift to a certain like standard. And we've seen time and time again the standard that like black men are held to who are public figures,
Yes.
like with Tiger Woods and with Kanye.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like I feel like in this case it's sort of both are happening to each of them. And I don't know how like aware or anything Taylor really was when she should have been of perhaps that dimension of their
Mhm.
dynamic. I don't know.
100%. And like that should be included in like the critique of this like whole incident.
But it isn't weirdly that much, especially with Kanye stuff. I feel like people are weirdly like they just, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
agreed. Yeah, he's definitely like villainized in the press. And like some stuff he does should be villainized or not villainized, but like he should be held accountable like some of the like really stocky stuff he's doing with Kim right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely lots of unfair things are rooted like in racism.
And like more broadly, I feel like there's like this sort of like whole subversive thing where people talk about Kanye and they're like he's not well. And I feel like people talk about them and they're like, you can have mental illness without being a dick. And it's like, yeah, and sometimes it impacts your behavior in ways that are
You are
like
a
detrimental
dick.
for your social life. And that's like literally one of the things that makes it a pathology and not just like a quirk.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Like when people use like depression or anxiety as like a quirk, it's like, no, I lost most of my friends because
Yeah.
I didn't talk to them for like months.
Because I
Like,
couldn't. Like
couldn't.
I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. And like it's I don't know. I feel like people yeah, I don't know. I do think that people are like really hard on Kanye and I do get it, but it's also just like it's yeah. And I'm like a white commentator and I don't know that like my voice is one that needs to be heard more in this conversation about like the Kanye discourse doesn't need more
Mm-hmm.
white commentators. Even Will Smith,
Literally.
like it's just but it's whenever like I feel like a black celebrity does something like it's particularly the white like pearl clutching public or viewership is so quick to just be like it's like so harsh and swift and so much more intense than
Yeah.
like missteps by like white counterparts or white
Yes.
peers.
Yes. Like people were like, jail when Will Smith
Like
slapped.
I on it people were like I was like Amy Schumer saying I was traumatized. Like sorry, what? Like have you ever been to a bar? Like
Yeah, it's like your safety was 0% jeopardized in that
no,
moment. Yeah,
no.
that
And I just,
fuck me.
and I don't know, I feel like everybody just sort of like centers the like impact it had on other people. Like, and I'm like, I'm not saying it didn't impact other people and was like appropriate. And I recognize that it's assault. And I just wonder like how it would have gone if it was like Will Ferrell or
Yes, or
like,
like Andy Samberg or something.
yeah, like I'm sure people would have like freaked out because it's juicy, but I don't think people would have gone so quickly to like there's this weird like it's like a complete rejection like and I think that's why it feels like there's this unacknowledged like racial dimension because it's like it almost feels like a little bit like he's being like rejected from this like society which is like conventionally very white, conventionally, exclusive and he's like, "Well, we gave you a chance and now you messed it and now you're out." And it just like I'm like, how do you not hear the white supremacist undertones of this like threat that you're now like on the outs of the society that was like a privilege for you to like. I feel like that
Yeah, like, oh, we
undertone is
let you in.
yeah. And I'm like, I don't think I'm making that up. Like it's
Yeah, yeah,
just so
yeah.
clear whenever like it happened with Tiger Woods too. It happens like every time Kanye and like stalking is very unchill and I would never defend the kinds of
Yeah,
stuff that he's done
yeah.
like that.
Or
But
what we're gonna talk about next with like the
mhm.
famous music video,
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like criticize those pieces, but I definitely think it's like challenge your racial biases when, especially when it's like, what did he really do? Interrupt her awards speech? Like,
Yeah.
I like the way that this became Taylor's narrative for like still for fucking 12 years or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like is wild to me.
It's truly wild. And it's like, I feel like at what point, I don't know. And I recognize the irony of me saying this as like two white people discussing this, but it's like, what if, what if white people just stopped like talking about and like trying to like I don't know, I guess like subject like issues that happen within like a black community to like white people's like court of opinion. And it's like a weird entitlement that like white audiences tend to have where they feel like they're the ultimate moral arbitrators of like behavior,
Yes,
which brings up,
policing behavior.
yeah, which like brings up this idea of like the model minority,
Mm-hmm.
which is like related, but I guess distinct. And I'm like, what if white people just like stopped? What if, have we considered that as an approach? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, you're right. I think that this was definitely left out of the discourse in 2009. I don't know if people relooked at it. I'm sure there was like 10-year anniversary like think pieces and shit like that in
Yeah,
2019.
vices.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Relating.
But yeah, I definitely think it's like not always a part of it because people were just quick to take Taylor's side.
Of course, yeah.
5 years later, 5 years later, they're reunited at the Grammys. I think Kim's there. Like, all is seemingly well.
Mm.
August 2015, I totally forgot about this. Taylor presents an award to Kanye at the VMAs.
Oh, what a move. What a
Yeah, the
publicity
like
move.
Vanguard Award, like the really prestigious one.
Yeah. And I think somewhere in here he also sent her flowers that she like posted to Instagram.
Yes, it was like when he was really into like the flower walls and like the cubes of flowers and stuff.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay.
So he, yeah, sent that to her. So they were like, all good. Then February 2016 rolls around. Kanye releases Famous. And Taylor says she disagrees with the lyrics.
And says like specifically, she's like, I would very much like to be left out of this narrative I haven't been asking to be a part of in like 12 years or whatever she says.
Yes, because she references back to the VMA's speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kim's like, okay, Taylor, hold up. You did know and you agreed that Kanye could release this. And Kim on Snapchat, if you can believe it, releases video footage of the call between Kanye and Taylor. It's about 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor's team says, A, she didn't know she was being recorded. B, the conversation was over an hour long and this was edited down to 3 minutes.
And Taylor adds that she didn't know that specifically he was going to use the word bitch.
Yes.
That's like her point of contention that she keeps repeating.
Yes. So again, peak Girl Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Gigi Hadid, Carly Kloss, Jamie King all jumped to Taylor's defense on Twitter.
And isn't this right after the Tom Hiddleston breakup?
So this would have been I think that this is a few months before prior to the Tom Hiddleston. This is in the same year. This is
before. Okay.
Yes, because okay, so think about it. This happens, then the Calvin Harris and Katy Perry stuff happens. Then she goes into hiding for a year.
Okay,
and then Rep comes out.
Yes, because Calvin wasn't the whole him calling her out thing being like, yeah, like suck it, Taylor. Like you
Yeah, like
suck. I
you
hate you.
deserve this.
Yeah. And then Katie's like sheep emoji, and the world turns on Taylor after she's this like darling for a decade.
Yes. So a few months later, this is really bad, I think, but the famous music video comes out and Taylor Swift is naked in it.
Yeah.
And Kanye had commissioned this piece of art where it has a bunch of celebrities that are naked, but like without their consent.
Hmm.
So that was fucked up. This was my mistake. In February, Kim said, no, I have the receipts about the phone call. And then in July 2016, so you're right, this was happening at the same time.
Okay.
Kim releases the footage on Snapchat and everyone goes wild, including Calvin Harris and Katy Perry. The hashtag Kim exposed Taylor party trends. Kim starts using the snake emoji, which then will get Karen the snake on the rep tour. More members of her girl squad are coming out. Selena Gomez, Chloe Grace Moretz, Ruby Rose, Martha Hunt are all coming to Taylor's defense. And it's just like, I would say Taylor's most difficult time in her career.
I feel like she's never been the subject of so much like ubiquitous hatred. Like just everyone was like, we knew it the whole time. We've been waiting for this. Like,
Yes, yes. Which is so weird because, again, she's like so loved, but I guess she's kind of like Justin Bieber. It's like so loved, but also like so hated at the same time.
yeah, and I feel like those things go hand in hand. Like the
Yeah.
more beloved someone becomes, like more people also hate them in like equal measure.
Yeah. So Taylor just disappears.
Suitcase.
Suitcase gate happens. So like we
I
spent
learned about this from you. I did not know anything about this
like
until
from
you.
this episode outline.
No, not from this episode outline. I think you talked about it.
Talked
That's
about
in
it.
another
Okay.
episode, and or maybe posted it on Instagram. And I remember being like,
Okay.
"Wait a
What the
minute."
fuck? Yeah, so she was like in a suitcase and her bodyguards were like carrying her around so she
The
could get
city.
place to place. Yeah.
It was like a human-sized suitcase.
It was so ridiculous. And then of course she comes back August 2017. She announces Reputation
Deletes all her Instagram photos and then posts a giant like mural of a snake.
of a snake and it's all in the Kanye style like gothic font.
Yeah.
And she was like, you guys didn't see me for an entire year, but like now I'm back with
I'm rebranded, bitches.
Yes.
Get ready for the new Taylor.
Yes. So that was like her entering her rep era. She reclaims the snake emoji and like the rest is history, truly.
Yeah, the rest really is history. And then she also released possibly her
Great.
her
Are you gonna
most
say greatest album?
no, her
Okay,
worst
good.
album. Her worst album, with the sole exception of Call It What You Want, which I truly think
Oh,
is one of her
such a
best
good
songs to
song.
date. And maybe there's a couple of others, but I can't. Oh, Dress, another great
Oh,
one.
that's such a good song.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a hot take because Rep is in my top 3 Taylor albums.
Really interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think that it is like if the criteria was which albums have the most good songs on it, it wouldn't be Rep.
I see. Yeah, I
'Cause
also feel
Rep
like
has
if
a lot
it's
of skips.
Rap has like I do think I think that's the thing about it for me. I also think that there are like 3 songs that I like loved and think are some of the best songs she's ever written. Call It What You Want.
Yes.
Dress, Delicate I thought was good. And I can't even think of any. There are like a few other, but honestly, the rest of the album, I think I liked Getaway Car too, which
Oh,
was
I
a Jack
love that
Antonoff
song.
production. Yeah, I liked that one
Yeah.
as well. But I think maybe the thing I didn't like about it was that it had also the highest proportion of songs I didn't like and didn't want to listen to.
Exactly. If my criteria was different, it wouldn't be in my top 3, but I think just like overall, I really like it. It's the one that I listen to the most. Rap,
Right,
Lover, and Folklore.
right. I feel like actually maybe in terms of like the act like some of the songs that are on it are maybe my top played Tay songs. But I
Yes.
don't think I think my other thing about it is that I really didn't like it conceptually. I thought it was a lot more I mean, I always think that conceptually she's sort of a failure. Like, I don't think that's her strength in some
Interesting.
ways. Like, I think she's just a bit clumsy like, I feel like she's not like that believable as like these characters that she like is trying to play. And they're just like sometimes a bit like in Speak Now, she was like a fairy princess with like a
Yeah,
ball gown and
princess.
like
Yeah,
singing
yeah.
about being enchanted. And it's like
Yeah.
there's just something about them that's always a little bit almost like too young for like I'm like this was something that I feel like you should have been into like literally 10 years ago. And I feel
Yeah.
like so I'm always but I feel like at the same time I obviously am obsessed with Taylor Swift. It's just that because I love her that I'm so critical.
That's what I say too, because I feel like I'm the most critical of her out of like any celeb, like with
Yeah.
her climate stuff and with her being petty and all of that shit, but it's because I love her the most.
Yeah, same. So I'm thinking about her all the time. So like obviously
Yeah.
I have a higher proportion of critiques as well
Yeah.
as like things that I love about her. Or maybe not a higher
Yes.
proportion, but a higher volume and like equal proportion to other celebrities that I talk about. But
100%.
I just thought the reputation was like I just thought it was like silly. Like I was like, you're not this isn't convincing.
That you're like a bad bitch.
Yeah, like and also like what was the first single called?
Look what you made me do.
Yeah, so stupid and funny. And like it was just like I'm like, who let you do this, sweetie? Like why
But
your
like
lead single?
okay, but I was in my like workout era and I was and nothing would make me like do sit-ups harder than look what you made me do. like nothing would make me sprint in quotes on the treadmill more than look what you made me do.
Man, was I just in a weird head? Did I actually miss a masterpiece and just I was in the wrong headspace to take it in at that time in my life?
No.
I was working in a dish pit in Squamish at a restaurant.
Yeah. So maybe
I would have
like,
hated anything.
Yeah, like generally no.
Okay.
Okay, I feel like so we're at like an hour mark.
Okay. The last thing I want to add is that Taylor then responded eventually to Famous by writing or releasing her song I Forgot That You Existed, which I thought was a sweet, triumphant song that brought everyone closure.
Yeah. And Kate, this is where her genius comes in because that's the first song on Reputation. And that's, I think, the music video where the...
On Lover, you mean? The first song on Lover.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. The first song on Lover. So she's entering a new era. And that's when I think the music video where the black snake turns pink and then blows up into confetti.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's where I feel like she's really good at like transitioning and putting this to rest. But
yeah,
I will say, as we mentioned at the top of the episode, March 2020, the entire phone call is leaked. Probably no one cares at this point because COVID is rampant, but that's how we started talking on Instagram Live.
Yeah, and what was the thing about this phone call that sort of changed? Like, I feel like the phone call did cast Taylor in a more flattering light. Like, it was clear that there was context Kanye didn't include in what he was saying about the song, right?
So if I remember correctly, he changed the lyrics. So she didn't know that the derogatory term bitch was going to be included. I think it was like, or maybe she didn't know about the, I think Taylor and I will still have sex part. There was some aspect
there was like
of
something
the
that
song
was changed
between so also an earlier version of the song leaked and something was different between the phone calls, the final version and the leaked version.
And I feel like some people were like, there's no way that one word would have changed it. But I do think that calling someone like bitch does change the tone of a sentence.
Totally. And you're right. And like, again, that also plays into like the power, like the weird power imbalances and stuff.
Yeah. Like it's a lot more like dismissive and it's just sexist, like to call it to be like, you know.
Yeah, I feel like bitch is such a word that's so commonly used, but when you actually think about it, it's, again, like derogatory.
Yeah, it's dehumanizing. It's like literally calling a woman a dog. And
yes. But we say it all the time, so I feel like sometimes it's lost its meaning, but then sometimes when it's used in the context like this, it's like, oh, that's like a bad word.
Yeah. And when Taylor is who Taylor is and she hears someone add bitch, I could see it changing the meaning for her.
100%, especially her, because she responds to like every little slight that's ever happened.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, let's wrap up with with Taylor Swift and Joe Jonas. So Taylor and Joe start dating in July 2008, which is, again, such a random pairing. Then in October 2008, Joe dumps Taylor over the phone in the infamous 20-second phone call. So she goes on the Ellen DeGeneres show, rip to the Ellen show, and she's like, yeah, I'm single, it's all right, I'm all good. And then the, again, infamous quote says, you know what, it's like when I find that person that is right for me, he'll be wonderful. When I look at that person, I'm not even going to remember the boy who broke up with me over the phone in 25 seconds when I was 18. I looked at the call log. It was like 27 seconds when Ellen questions her. She says, that's got to be like a record.
Right. And then I remember Joe being like, she hung up on me.
Yeah, like years later, he was like, well, the call can only be as long as you like stay on it.
Yeah. I would have talked for longer, but.
Yeah. Do you think dating for 2 months at the age of like 18 warrants an in-person breakup? Or do you think phone calls okay?
I kind of think it warrants an in-person breakup. I feel like 18 is like you're mature enough to like want to have that kind of conversation in person.
Yeah. I think 18 you should. I think yeah. 16 plus you can't break up over text or phone unless you're like scared for your like safety or something.
Yeah.
But,
or
like,
I guess if they're like just traveling all the time because they're celebs, maybe they just like couldn't see each other or something. But I don't know. I guess
a Skype call then.
At least don't pretend Skype didn't exist in 2006. Is that when this was?
2008.
Yeah.
So later that year, real quick, she releases the song Forever and Always.
Which is a banger.
It's actually so good.
It's so good.
She calls him a scared little boy. She says that Joe said that he loved her, but like that was probably, again, just like artistic.
Yeah.
Like word
license.
Choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such a good song to drive to. Oh my God.
It's a great song. And it's like scathing. It's like, I feel like it sort of like cemented her reputation as like a person who's going to write a song about you if you break up, and it's going to suck because it's going to like the song is going to be amazing. And then like a lot of tweens are going to hate you afterwards.
100%. Yeah, that's so true. So she releases that. A few, like months later, she kind of alleges that it's because of Camilla Bell. She writes Better Than Revenge.
Yeah, she did some slut shaming in that song, which was very of the moment of her. It was like 2011, and I guess we were still doing that then, but it didn't age well. And even at the time, well. I remember being like, whoa.
Yeah, like it's way harsh.
Yeah.
June 2009, so like 6 months later, the Jonas Brothers release Much Better on Lines, Vines, and Trying Times.
What an album title.
So good. And it references I'm Done with Superstars and all the tears on her guitar. So obviously referencing Taylor Swift. Yeah. This song like didn't do well though.
I honestly don't even remember it. Like I can't think of a single melody from it.
Literally same.
I feel like it's just whenever it's an obvious like clapback that like doesn't merit being on an album out of just like the goodness of the song. It's just about like wanting to respond publicly. It's always a mistake, and it's never like Paper Doll was this way too.
Yes, and same with Swish Swish. Is that the moral of this podcast story, that you don't release the rebuttal?
Don't release a rebuttal. Also, even Bad Blood, honestly, like maybe it's just like don't release a song just to throw shade. Like if it's a great song that happens to throw shade, include it on the album, but don't just like.
Don't try to shoehorn a personal, like, okay, write that song if that's like cathartic to you, but don't put it on the album because we don't need to.
It's not worth it. Like, whatever PR value you're getting out of it isn't worth us having to now include like a mediocre 3-minute song on our regular rotation for the rest of eternity.
Literally.
Because you wanted to settle a score musically.
Musically, like we're in fucking Pitch Perfect. Like,
and it's like, oh my God, yeah.
Fucking so funny. Honestly, that kind of like ends their feud. Like, they have some run-ins over the last 10 years, but it seems like they're in a good place. Joe's wife, Sophie Turner, loves Taylor Swift.
That's sweet. I love to hear that.
Yeah. And they, like, when Mr. Perfectly Fine came out on the re-records, Joe made like a cute TikTok to it. So it seems
cute.
like, you know, all is well. But yeah, maybe the only feud that Taylor Swift has left in the past. Like,
yeah, it's really unlike her.
Okay, let's get to our special announcement.
Okay.
Before we wrap up, Kenzie is releasing a new song. And this is like the world premiere. Like, I feel like we are the river, or we're like Much Music.
Are the river 97.5 Kamloops' version of Much Music.
Yes.
And it's a song that I wrote because, well, it's a song that I specifically shared with Tori because it's the pettiest song I've ever written. It's called Ruin It. And I just made me think more broadly about, and both of us, I think more broadly about just like the history of petty songmanship and the back. I don't think there will be a rebuttal to this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so in 10 years, like when I'm doing the podcast episode about your catalog, who's doing the rebuttal?
I would be shocked if the person that this is about took up a musical career. However, I will say that one time he did watch La La Land with me and claim that he thought he would be really good at the piano because he can type fast. So maybe I'll eat my words and he'll be like the next JP Sachs and he'll release just a scorcher in response.
Okay, I'm like dead. What about if he's a big RTVP fan and he's like listening to this and he's like, how fucking dare she? Like he didn't know we were gonna talk about this. Like,
there goes your biggest fan.
Yeah. Like, I have like a RTBP exposed party on Twitter, just like Kim did to Taylor. So funny. Okay, let's listen to the song. This is, I feel like I need to be like, like world premiere.
You can edit in some sound effects afterwards.
I literally can't. Like, I don't have the technical skills, but like,
okay, I can. Pretend. I'll send you a track.
Yeah, just pretend.
I'll send you a free track.
Okay.
Call me up 2 a.m. But we're cool now, we're just friends. Drop her name out the blue, 'cause that's just what pals do. She sounds like everything you needed. My friends say they've never seen you the better. You said no two could work like we did. Are you glad to be wrong about who you belong to? I hope you take her home to all of your friends. Say you got a good thing, boy, don't ever lose it. I hope you think you finally moved on, and then I hope that you miss me just enough to ruin it. I hope you ruin it. I hope you ruin it. If you meant what you said, how come you found love again? Wish I could just forget. I remember every word instead. She sounds like everything you needed. My friends say they've never seen you the better. I'm still here picking up the pieces, coming undone while you're out with someone new. I hope you take her home to all of your friends. Say you got a good still you're picking up the pieces. I hope you take her home to all of your friends. They tell you got a good thing, boy, don't ever lose it. I hope you think you finally moved on, and then I hope that you miss me. I hope you take her home to all of your friends. Tell you got a good thing, boy, don't ever lose it. I hope you think you finally moved on, and then I hope that you miss me just enough to ruin it. I hope you 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 ruin it.
And that was Kenzie Cates with Ruin It.
You sound just like what's his name? Henry Small.
From 98.3 The River.
Yeah.
No one's gonna get these
No,
these
these are
references,
very
but
niche.
just enjoy. Extremely fucking niche.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Thank you for playing this song on your podcast.
Oh my god, thank you for asking me. It is such an honor. Thanks for chatting with me. Tell the listeners where they can find Ruin It and anything else you want to plug.
Think that when this comes out, it will be available for pre-save on Spotify, but it will be coming out on October 7th. So if you're listening to this after October 7th, 2022, then you can get it anywhere you get your music. So Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere like that. And it's I'm on like all social media as Kenzie Cates or Kenzie Cates Music. And I also have an Ampled, which is sort of like Patreon, but specific for musicians. And it's a cooperative model. So it's like,
Oh girl, this is why I love you, because you stand within your values.
thank you.
Like truly, but I'm like okay, I'll tell you after.
Thank
I'll tell
you.
you after. But like I love that. I love that.
Thank you. I'm a huge fan of Ampled and what they do. And because Spotify pays me 0.0057 cents per stream, if you like my music and you would like to support me more, not that it's not meaningful to support me on Spotify, but like perhaps more tangibly for me in terms of like economics, you can become a supporter on Ampled. Just look me up there. It's Kenzie Cates. Cates.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kens, for coming on.
Thanks, Tor.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Kenzie for joining me on today's episode. I had so much fun and I hope you did too. Thanks again so much for being here. And I hope you're safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Tori, and I'm ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.